Have you ever paused to consider how we can truly care for the elderly in ways that preserve their independence while ensuring they lead lives filled with purpose and joy? In today's fast-paced society, where caregiving often becomes a rigid routine, traditional methods sometimes fall short of addressing the individual needs of seniors. Their unique stories, challenges, and aspirations often get lost in a system that prioritizes convenience over personalization. But what if there were better ways? What if we could discover paths that not only respect the autonomy of our elders, but also celebrate their wisdom and resilience? Across America, there are countless stories of seniors breaking free from outdated caregiving models, embracing creative solutions that allow them to thrive in their golden years. Today, we'll delve into 3 such remarkable stories, each shining a light on the power of innovation, community, and adaptability. These tales go beyond the basics of survival. They speak to something much deeper: dignity, companionship, and the courage to embrace life's changes with grace and determination. They are stories of hope and ingenuity, inspiring us to rethink what it truly means to care for the elderly in the modern age. Welcome to the Elder's Compass. This platform is dedicated to exploring the many facets of aging with dignity and purpose, celebrating the resilience, wisdom, and unique journeys of seniors from all walks of life. Whether it's through heartwarming stories, practical advice, or community-driven solutions, the Elder's Compass is your guide to understanding and supporting the elderly in meaningful ways. If you're looking for inspiration or simply want to learn how to enhance the lives of the seniors around you, this is the place to be. Join us in building a world where aging is not just about growing older, it's about growing stronger, wiser, and more connected. Now let's return to the stories that highlight the ingenuity and resilience of our elders. These real-life examples from across America show us that with a little creativity and compassion, the challenges of aging can transform into opportunities for growth and connection. From a senior in Denver finding independence through community support, to a widow in Portland redefining assisted living, and finally, to a retired mother in Atlanta rediscovering herself in a co-housing community, these tales are testaments to the power of adaptability and the importance of human connection. Each story reminds us that caring for our elderly is about so much more than providing physical support. It's about nurturing their emotional and social well-being, empowering them to lead fulfilling lives, and cherishing the wisdom they bring to our communities. So let's dive into these heartwarming tales and uncover the lessons they hold for us all. By embracing these new approaches, we can reimagine a future where every elder thrives with dignity and purpose. Harold, a vibrant 74-year-old from Denver, Colorado, is the kind of man who has always prided himself on his self-reliance. For decades, he built a life with his wife, navigating the highs and lows of 50 years of marriage. When she passed away, Harold was faced with a profound sense of loss, not just of a partner, but of the structure and rhythm she brought to their shared life. While his 2 daughters were eager to help, they felt he would be better cared for in a senior living facility. But Harold wasn't ready to relinquish the independence that had always defined him. "It's not for me," he insisted. "I can take care of myself." The idea of moving into a facility where his daily routines would be dictated by someone else clashed with his deeply ingrained sense of freedom. Initially, Harold tried to compromise. He hired a part-time caregiver, hoping this arrangement would allow him to stay in his beloved home while receiving a bit of extra support. Unfortunately, this solution fell short. Despite paying $2,800 a month, a significant portion of his retirement income, the caregiver spent more time scrolling through her phone than assisting Harold with meals, errands, or even light conversation. The lack of genuine care and attentiveness left Harold feeling frustrated and disheartened. After just a few months, he made the difficult decision to let her go. Seeing his struggle, Harold's daughters proposed an alternative. He could move in with them. While the offer was made with the best intentions and deep love, Harold found himself torn. On one hand, he was moved by their willingness to accommodate him. On the other, he feared becoming a burden. Harold was acutely aware of how busy his daughters' lives were. Both had young families and demanding careers. The idea of disrupting their household routines, especially with grandchildren to care for, weighed heavily on him. He imagined the unspoken compromises they might have to make: less space, adjusted schedules, and the inevitable frictions that could arise from living in close quarters. "I appreciate what they're offering," Harold thought, "but I don't want to feel like I'm intruding or putting extra stress on them." His independence, both physical and emotional, mattered too much to him. It was during this period of reflection and uncertainty that Harold stumbled upon a remarkable program: the Silver Circle. This community-driven initiative was designed for seniors who, like Harold, valued their independence but understood the importance of mutual support. The concept was simple but powerful. Members of the Silver Circle lived in their own homes but stayed connected through daily group messages. Each morning, participants would check in, ensuring everyone was safe and well. If someone failed to respond, another member of the group would stop by to ensure everything was okay. This wasn't just about safety, it was about fostering a sense of belonging and camaraderie. Harold was intrigued. "This is exactly what I need," he thought. Joining the Silver Circle transformed Harold's life in ways he hadn't anticipated. What started as a simple safety net quickly grew into a vibrant community of like-minded individuals who understood each other's struggles and joys. The program encouraged members to exchange small favors, building a network of mutual support. Harold, who had always enjoyed tending to his garden, began helping others with light yard work. In return, a neighbor in the group, an excellent cook, occasionally brought over homemade meals for Harold. The give and take created a dynamic of respect and appreciation, allowing Harold to feel valued without the guilt of being dependent. But it wasn't just the practical benefits that enriched Harold's life. The group also organized weekly outings, trips to local parks, community events, or simple coffee meetups. These gatherings became a highlight of Harold's week, offering him not just activity, but a sense of purpose and joy. For Harold, the Silver Circle wasn't merely a solution, it was a revelation. He realized that independence didn't have to mean isolation. By engaging with this community, he found a way to maintain his autonomy while embracing the benefits of connection. This affordable, community-driven model allowed Harold to remain in the home he loved while surrounding himself with a network of care and companionship. It was a far cry from the impersonal nature of senior living facilities or the awkward dependency he had feared in living with his daughters. Looking back, Harold often reflects on how much the Silver Circle has given him. "It's not just about staying safe," he says. "It's about living a full life on my terms, but with people who care." Harold's story is a testament to the power of community and innovation in elderly care. It shows us that with creativity and empathy, we can create systems that respect the dignity and independence of our seniors while addressing their need for connection and support. As Harold continues to thrive within the Silver Circle, he inspires us all to think differently about aging. His story reminds us that independence doesn't have to mean being alone, and that sometimes the simplest solutions can have the most profound impact. Let's move to another story. Margaret, a 65-year-old widow from Portland, Oregon, had always been a meticulous planner. Throughout her life, she believed in preparing for every eventuality, from small decisions about weekly groceries to major life changes. But no amount of planning could have prepared her for the silence that enveloped her home after the passing of her husband. Once filled with laughter, conversation, and the comforting hum of daily routines, her house now felt empty and lifeless. The quiet was deafening, and as much as Margaret tried to occupy her time with hobbies and visits to friends, she couldn't escape the loneliness. Her children, living thousands of miles away on opposite coasts, were naturally concerned. They suggested she move into a traditional retirement community, where she would be surrounded by peers and have access to amenities that could make her life easier. But Margaret wasn't convinced. "I wanted to have control over my life," she explained. "I didn't want to feel like just another number in a system." She had heard stories of large retirement homes where residents were often overlooked, where their individuality was drowned out by rigid schedules and one-size-fits-all care. Margaret couldn't bear the thought of losing the autonomy that had always been so important to her. A turning point came when a longtime friend told Margaret about a boutique assisted living facility she had recently moved into. Unlike traditional retirement communities, this concept offered a more personalized approach to senior living. Intrigued but skeptical, Margaret decided to visit one of these facilities to see it for herself. From the moment she walked through the doors, she felt a sense of warmth and individuality that immediately set it apart from the institutional feel she had feared. The facility offered private studio apartments, each thoughtfully designed for seniors who still valued their independence. Margaret was impressed by the way the spaces were tailored to feel like home, rather than temporary accommodations. Meals were included, prepared by a chef who took dietary preferences and cultural tastes into account. Common spaces buzzed with life, from a rooftop garden where residents tended flowers and vegetables to a cozy library that hosted weekly book clubs. Most importantly, the staff were attentive without being overbearing, offering support when needed, but respecting each resident's personal boundaries. For Margaret, it felt like the perfect balance. After much consideration, she decided to move in, using her carefully saved funds along with modest financial contributions from her children to make it work. From the moment she settled into her new apartment, Margaret felt a sense of peace that she hadn't experienced in years. Her apartment quickly became her sanctuary, a space where she could retreat when she needed solitude, but also step out into a vibrant community when she craved connection. What Margaret valued most about her new home was the freedom it gave her to shape her days according to her own preferences. One week, she might dive into a book club discussion on her favorite mystery novel. The next, she could join a gardening workshop on the rooftop or participate in a yoga class. On days when she felt like being alone, she would curl up in her apartment with a cup of tea, enjoying the quiet without the oppressive loneliness she had felt in her old house. Margaret also discovered a renewed sense of community. She made friends with other residents who shared her interests and life experiences, forming bonds over shared meals and group activities. One of her favorite memories was a storytelling night where residents shared tales from their pasts. Listening to others' stories and sharing her own gave Margaret a deep sense of belonging she hadn't realized she was missing. While the boutique assisted living facility wasn't inexpensive, Margaret often remarked that it was worth every penny. "It's not just about having a place to stay," she explained. "It's about having a life worth living, surrounded by people who care and a community that feels like family." Her children, initially worried about the cost, quickly saw how much happier and healthier Margaret had become. They were reassured that their contributions were not just helping their mother live comfortably, but also thrive in a way they hadn't imagined possible. Margaret's story is a testament to the importance of finding the right environment for each individual as they age. For her, the boutique-assisted living concept provided the perfect blend of independence and support, allowing her to maintain control over her life while embracing new opportunities for connection and growth. In her words, "It's not just about where you live, but how you live. And here, I'm living my best life." Margaret's journey reminds us that senior living doesn't have to mean giving up autonomy or settling for one-size-fits-all solutions. With the right approach, it can be a new chapter filled with purpose, friendships, and the freedom to embrace each day on one's own terms. The third story is about Eleanor, a 67-year-old from Atlanta, Georgia, had devoted her entire life to raising her two children. As a single mother, she worked tirelessly to provide for her family, juggling long hours at work with the responsibilities of nurturing and guiding her children. Over the years, she found her purpose in their successes, celebrating every achievement as though it were her own. But as her youngest child packed up and moved out to start a life of their own, Eleanor was left with a house that felt achingly empty. For the first time in decades, she faced the challenge of living for herself, and the silence that once seemed so rare now felt overwhelming. Her children, concerned about their mother's well-being, suggested she move in with her daughter's family. Eager to stay close to her loved ones and avoid the loneliness of an empty home, Eleanor agreed. At first, the arrangement seemed ideal. She enjoyed spending time with her grandchildren and being part of a bustling household again. However, as weeks turned into months, subtle tensions began to arise. Eleanor struggled to feel like an equal in her daughter's home. "We love each other, but living together wasn't easy," she later admitted. Her daughter and son-in-law had their routines, their ways of doing things, and Eleanor often felt like an outsider trying to fit in. She was grateful for their kindness but found herself walking on eggshells, constantly worrying about overstepping boundaries. She missed the freedom of her own home, her own rules, her own space. One of the hardest realizations for Eleanor was how much her role in the family had shifted. She was no longer the decision-maker or the guiding force. Instead, she often felt like a guest. Small but significant moments reminded her of this. Being asked to use a separate set of dishes, being told how to organize her belongings, or feeling hesitant to voice her opinions during family discussions. Determined to reclaim her independence, Eleanor began researching alternative living arrangements. That's when she discovered the concept of co-housing communities, specifically designed for seniors. These communities offered private living spaces for each resident while fostering shared environments like kitchens, gardens, and recreational areas. The idea intrigued Eleanor. It promised a balance of independence and companionship, something she realized she deeply craved. Eleanor visited a co-housing community a few miles from her neighborhood and was instantly captivated. The residents welcomed her warmly, and the energy of the place felt alive and vibrant. She saw a group of seniors tending to a sprawling community garden, another group practicing yoga in the shared recreational hall, and a few others chatting over tea in the communal kitchen. This wasn't just a living arrangement, it was a community where people genuinely cared for and supported one another. Within weeks, Eleanor decided to move in. For the first time in years, she felt a surge of excitement about what lay ahead. Her new home was a cozy apartment with just enough space for her needs. Simple, comfortable, and entirely her own. Around her were neighbors who quickly became like extended family, offering companionship without infringing on her personal space. Eleanor found newfound purpose in her days. She started her mornings in the community garden, planting flowers and tending to vegetables. Her afternoons were often filled with teaching baking classes in the communal kitchen, sharing recipes she had perfected over the years. To her surprise, she even took up Tai Chi, learning from a fellow resident who had practiced it for decades. "It's amazing what a supportive environment can do," she said with a beaming smile. "I feel younger than ever." What Eleanor loved most about her new life was the sense of belonging it gave her. Each day brought opportunities to connect, contribute, and grow. The community celebrated birthdays together, hosted movie nights, and organized day trips to local attractions. Eleanor no longer felt the crushing loneliness that had weighed her down after her children moved out. Instead, she felt part of something bigger, a network of individuals who valued each other's company and contributions. Living in the co-housing community also gave Eleanor a renewed sense of independence. She could decide how to spend her days, whether that meant participating in group activities or simply enjoying the tranquility of her own space. The support of her neighbors gave her confidence to explore new hobbies and revisit old passions, all while knowing there was always someone nearby if she needed help. Looking back, Eleanor realized how transformative the move had been. "I thought my best days were behind me," she reflected, "but this community has shown me that life can be just as full and rewarding as ever. It's not about where you are, it's about the people you surround yourself with." Eleanor's story is a powerful reminder of the importance of community and the value of finding the right living environment as we age. For her, the co-housing community provided the perfect solution. A space where she could rediscover herself while forming meaningful connections with others. It wasn't just about having a place to live, it was about having a place to thrive. Through her journey, Eleanor inspires us to reimagine what aging can look like. With the right mix of independence, support, and community, the later years of life can become a time of growth, joy, and rediscovery. Eleanor's decision to take a bold step toward reclaiming her life reminds us all that it's never too late to embrace change and create a future filled with possibility. These stories remind us that caregiving for the elderly is far from a one-size-fits-all approach. Every senior carries with them a lifetime of experiences, values, and aspirations. Whether it's through the support of a community group like Harold found, the tailored environment of a boutique assisted living facility like Margaret embraced, or the enriching connections of a co-housing community like Eleanor discovered, the heart of elder care lies in respecting and honoring their desire for independence, dignity, and connection. As we navigate our relationships with aging loved ones, these stories challenge us to look beyond traditional caregiving models. They inspire us to ask deeper questions. How can we better support the elders in our lives? Are there ways we can help them maintain their autonomy while fostering a sense of belonging? By thinking outside the box and exploring creative solutions, we have the opportunity to make a profound and lasting difference in their quality of life. Caring for the elderly is not just about providing for their physical needs. It's about nurturing their emotional well-being, celebrating their individuality, and recognizing their immense value in our communities. Harold, Margaret, and Eleanor each found their unique paths, and their journeys are testaments to the transformative power of thoughtful, personalized approaches to aging. If these stories have resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on how you can contribute to a brighter future for seniors. Whether it's checking in on an older neighbor, starting a conversation with a family member about their needs, or sharing innovative ideas with your community, small actions can lead to meaningful change. We also invite you to join the conversation. Have you encountered creative ways to support the elderly in your life? Do you have a story of inspiration or a unique caregiving experience? Share it with us in the comments or on social media. Let's build a space where ideas can flourish and where seniors feel seen, heard, and valued. If you found these stories insightful or believe someone you know could benefit from them, don't keep them to yourself. Share this with a friend, a family member, or anyone who cares about creating a more compassionate world for our aging loved ones. Together, we can foster a society that doesn't just accommodate its seniors, but celebrates their wisdom, resilience, and contributions. At the Elders Compass, we are committed to shining a light on the stories, solutions, and perspectives that can transform the way we think about aging. Subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content, practical advice, and innovative ideas. Let's work together to ensure that every senior not only has a place to live, but a life worth living. Together, we can create a brighter, more inclusive future for seniors everywhere, because they deserve nothing less.